Shut up and sit down.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the KF Podcast. This is your Shang-Chi spoiler review. Are we doing this separate? Or
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, this is just the full-on spoiler
Shang-Chi.
review.
I guess I should ask that before we recorded.
Yeah, this is what we thought about
We don't talk.
Shang-Chi.
Spoilers! Do you guys remember when Justin spoiled What If a couple weeks ago?
Are we still pronouncing it right?
No.
Shang-Chi.
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 Sean. I'm just going to call him Sean.
Sean.
So we got me, Ken, Brock, Justin, and Lance is here, of course.
It's a movie. Why
It's
not?
a movie night. Sitting in Ken's chair. Your spoiler thing went so loud on the microphone.
That's because he leaned into it.
I know.
He really wanted to do it right
He's
this
doing
time.
ASMR into the microphone.
He's ruining more podcasts with his audio commentary.
His body and his presence.
His
I'll just
eating,
go.
opening
Donut
packages.
Yeah, opening packages.
You sure you don't want some Cracker Jacks or a whole bag of pistachios? And
And
All
a
right,
little bubble wrap.
back on track.
Okay.
So we just got back from this movie. I think we're just going to go around, talk about what we thought about it. Then we'll get into some. We'll save the surprise endings for the end or the middle for our.
We'll put it at the very end so people have to listen to this whole
Yeah, we'll go
pile.
through that at the
all
end.
this drivel.
But let's talk about first just whether we liked it or not. I guess we'll start with Brock.
I really liked it a lot. I really did. I didn't go in with very high expectations because I really don't know a whole lot about Shang-Chi. But there's a lot of cool twists and stuff that they kept quiet and didn't spoil in the trailer like every other movie that comes out these days. And
True.
I really appreciated that about this movie, and I really enjoyed it a lot.
I also enjoyed it a lot. And like Brock said, I had completely different expectations for what we were going to see in the movie. And then was very pleasantly surprised throughout the entire movie. There were I had a few issues, but overall, I really, really liked it.
Oh, really, really?
Yeah.
I thought this was a great departure from the normal Marvel movie. Like, and we kind of joke about the fact that it's like, oh, every first Marvel movie he fights himself. It was that same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like to get to that point was different. Like, I don't know. I felt like the ride throughout the story arc was better. I liked it. I thought it was paced out well. I didn't get annoyed by Awkwafina. I don't know if I'm waiting to hear Dawn's take on that because that's one thing that we're talking about.
I was close.
You know what? When they started breaking her away and doing other stuff, I'm like, okay, she doesn't need to be in this. Well, we'll get into it. But I would put this on the higher end of Marvel movies for me right now since I'm rewatching all of them in chronological order. Like, this is better than like Avengers 2 to me. This is.
Oh. I didn't know we were going to start saying crazy shit right off the bat. This movie's better than Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
Oh. I just got fucking heartburn
All right,
from that
let's just get into
statement. No, I'm going to let Lance go first.
Well, because you're going to shit all over
Age
this.
of Ultron. What the fuck?
When was the last time you watched Age of Ultron?
Just last year. I love Age of Ultron. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, you're a crazy person.
It's his Jingle All the Way.
Ultron is great.
Jingle All the Way is the greatest.
James Spader is great. There's great lines in that movie. It's an actual Avengers movie the whole way through.
They can't all be an Avengers movie.
I didn't say this is an Avengers movie. Don't start attacking me. I haven't even gave my fucking review yet. All right? I didn't say this is an Avengers movie. He's the one that compared it to Age of Ultron. He's the one that
He's
set
setting
up.
the table.
Yeah. All right, we'll get there.
We're attacking you.
All right.
Hold on.
Got any bubble wrap?
I do like this movie. I didn't go in with very high expectations, and actually, I sort of liked it as just a regular movie, not even just a Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to know a lot about Marvel to actually, enjoy everything. I mean, there were a few things that you wouldn't sort of miss, but all in all, it exceeded my expectations.
Okay.
The table's set for you.
Yeah, I mean, this is bad because, like, all four of you love it so much. Let me start off by saying I like him a lot. I think he's really entertaining. I think his fight action, the choreography, and all that. Plus, I know he did a lot of that, so I think he's really, really good. I think he's funny. I think he has great personality. I think he's a welcome addition to the Marvel Universe. I think seeing him in future movies alongside Bucky and Cap and everybody else will be entertaining because he's good. I like him a lot. Awkwafina did not bother me as much as everything as I thought she was. I thought she was good. I liked the fact that she didn't have to be a love interest, that it was just like a friend. It's refreshing to see that you don't have to kiss in the middle of the movie and realize that you love each other, that they're just best friends. So, and it was just normal. That felt very real to me. I really enjoyed that part. I thought the beginning of this movie was really good. I really liked the action. That bus scene was amazing. I thought the fight in the club was amazing. Like, this was good, pure, like, martial arts movie action. It was like a nice break from other MCU stuff. I'm like, I like this. First thing I didn't like. We'll kind of go through the things I didn't like. First thing I didn't like. I did not like the 10 rings at all.
Really?
They were not anywhere near what I was expecting them to be. All he did was laser whip powers and one shield and laser whip and then throwing them at things. I didn't like that at all. I was expecting him to be able to do like ice and then the dark void,
stuff,
the lightning.
Like the real ones do.
Like the real ones do. But all he kept doing was throwing them at you, which I thought was stupid.
I would not be surprised if they unlock that later.
I think they did
Maybe they
set
will,
that up.
which will be better. I didn't enjoy the presentation of them in this movie. Having to fire them at things like then pulling them back, and all that. I didn't care for them at all. The laser whip with them and all that I thought was very stupid looking.
I think that's just how he used them. I mean, we have no way of knowing that yet.
When he was charging at that crew, I got excited. I was like, oh, this could be like, I want to see what he's going to do to all these
Shoot
different
fireballs,
people,
ice
and fire. And I was like, oh, all right, energy shield, cool. I was like, oh, electric whip. And I was like, electric whip? Electric whip? I get the fucking electric whip.
Well, it was just the martial arts weapons that he knew. He just simulated that.
So maybe it'll be more, which I'll give it a thing.
That's what I think, just because of the way they presented it.
They very well could be.
Because I feel
he
like
was actually able to fly. I mean, sort of fly. But
Sort of fly.
But I also feel like they kind of switched whenever Shang-Chi had them as well. They seemed more...
I just feel like if he had him for 1,000 years to be able to unlock a little bit more than electric whip.
Well, maybe he didn't need...
He forgot.
Well, or he felt that he had knew all the power.
So...
Arrogance.
Arrogance.
But also it could be the fact that Shang-Chi actually knew from his mom's side the other type of martial arts that allowed him to utilize it in a different way.
They just thought this looked cool.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's probably
And
more
that
the
may-
case.
And it may never be beyond that, but
Okay, so there was the rings.
I'll agree with you on that.
I didn't like that they kind of mocked the whole... Well, I get they're mocking the Mandarin name because it's like a stereotypical name, but the Mandarin name is still good to me in comics, and I don't like the spoiler that they just killed him. It's another villain that I wanted to see more of, and he's just dead, and they're kind of,
I feel like that his sister's gonna,
Well, we'll cover that.
They didn't kill him. They didn't kill the character.
Well, he got
put him on ice.
his brain sucked out.
His soul.
No, he didn't.
His soul sucked
His
out.
soul was
his soul
removed
was-
from his body.
Yes, his
Yeah,
soul was totally
so that's right. It was.
He dead. He was laying on an island dead, But the Marvel tends to do that when you fight your similar villain. They usually die at the end,
I don't know if he could have been a proper villain like the Mandarin going forward.
Yeah.
No, he was too sympathetic.
I mentioned that in the theater. I don't mind when they make a villain sympathetic, his backstory sympathetic, so that you can get that element of, oh man, I understand why oh Jesus, he just killed a puppy. I don't. But this was like they got to a point where it was almost like they were trying to redeem him.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were doing with him.
I didn't go for.
Well, yeah, because he threw away his whole empire for a woman.
I feel like that was a director's choice to make you realize how serious,
How much in love they were.
yeah, and his motivation for having to go on that
Yeah.
other side of the wall. I felt invested. I felt like, I honestly, I was thinking, I'm like, is this the first one they don't kill, in a Marvel movie where it's
but they did.
or that he maybe gives up the rings or, whatever but I was like, oh, okay, it's,
So, So like I said, the first part of it, I really enjoyed the martial arts aspect of it, and the fighting and the underground club, and you had a little bit of the element with the rings, and then it kind of lost me when we went to Narnia. When we ended up in Narnia, and then we had a luck dragon from Neverending Story, which was fucking dumb looking, riding around on his magical luck dragon. It looked like Falcor from Neverending Story. I don't know what happened.
It didn't have a dog face.
But when we went to Narnia and we were doing all these giant Lion of Witch in the Wardrobe things,
it was Chinese mythology.
I didn't like it. I thought it looked very cheesy. It turned into this weird mystical sci-fi movie. Cool. It was just not what I was expecting for it to be. I thought he was going to fight the Mandarin. Everyone was an Avatar Airbender here, which was cheesy with the wind and all the shit. It just looked like an Avatar knockoff and a Narnia knockoff. I didn't like the battle at the end. I thought the Soul Sucker thing was a stupid villain to come out.
Did you like him better in What If this week?
I see What If this week. Of course.
Wait, spoil it.
We said spoilers.
Of course, Katie, who never fired an arrow before, has to save the day with her arrow shot.
She has great hand-eye
to
coordination.
the dragon's neck,
skills.
like all that shit.
She was practicing for hours.
3 days they practiced for.
Yeah, I don't know. It lost me.
I think it was overnight.
The fight at the end was lame with him and his dad. Just, I got rings, you got rings. I got rings, you got rings. Rings floating around me. Then he almost did a giant Kamehameha wave Dragon Ball move, but then he didn't. I fell out of this movie.
Even say that?
End. I didn't like the end of it at all. I didn't like that mystical land or any of that stuff. It wasn't really for me.
From the comic books, that's the city in the sky.
Well, maybe I don't read because I don't read Shang-Chi's comics, so I don't know.
I feel like that is a city that he ties his power into and hangs out there at times.
Centers his chi.
Yeah.
Yes, but I feel like it's also kind of tied into the Iron Fist stuff too.
I think it is.
That's a different.
Kunlun.
Yeah, but I think I think that might be two of them.
I think one's the Japanese version, one's the Chinese version.
I think so.
I'm getting tired of Marvel. Keep introducing people that have controlled the fate of the world for the, Hydras and everything. Now these people, the Ten Rings, have been changing.
Well, I think
taking down monarchs and changing civil. There's so many groups they've introduced so far that do
They
this
got
shit.
pigeonholed into that because of Iron Man 1.
Yeah, they get.
I honestly think we're going to see a bigger power that's in charge of all these different groups.
Hopefully, because it's like how many
Spider-Woman.
power people are there?
Skrulls.
No, Spider-Ham.
The Doctor Doom and the Illuminati.
Yeah.
I would have been happier with it to stay in that tournament, do more with the tournament, more with the
Mortal Kombat
fighting, and more of the fighting against his group and all that, where it was the mystical stuff kind of lost me.
See, I was happy it wasn't that. I was happy it wasn't a knockoff of Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, again, I don't read it, so I don't know what to expect from his comic. Anytime I've ever read him in anything else, it's just been his martial arts base and the stuff like that. Even when Iron Man fought the Mandarin, I don't remember all that mystical shit being big lions and fluffy dogs. And
it wasn't because the Mandarin was just hey, we're in Vietnam, so the villain's got to be from Asia or from that area.
And it was supposed to be magic versus technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
and it ends up being that the rings were technology too. After all is said and done.
Were they alien tech? Or they alien tech?
It's Fang Foom's control stuff for his.
Yeah.
But
I was hoping Fin Fang Foom was going to come out of that wall.
And kill all those people. That's what I was
So I was hoping that too, but then I realized that in itself is such a stereotype that I can't see them bringing it back in that
Well, that's why they're still negotiating with the Chinese government to try and get it to release over there.
Well, see, that's it. I mean, I watching the movie, and I guess I'm not Chinese, so I can't say whether any of that stuff was tropey, but I mean, there wasn't anything that was, squinty eyes or
I didn't think there was anything that was too horrible. They did a lot to honor Chinese traditions. I felt I really liked the Chinese family living in America and the way they were, and still honoring their traditions. But like I said, I was really enjoying the first part of this movie. I was like, wow, this movie is not what I expected, and I like him. I like his on-screen presence. I still
really
walk
good.
away with it that I really like him, and I'm excited to see him now mixed in because I think he's really has sort of reminds me a little bit of Chadwick Boseman, he has presence. He's entertaining. He's charismatic. I like him a lot. I'll enjoy seeing him move forward.
I like that he's a young presence too, like with all those serious,
Yeah.
stoic, older characters.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you need to get some rest. It's like, well, we could. Or,
Like, a nice young character's cool.
yeah.
You know, I enjoyed Wong. Thought his
liked
stuff
Wong's
was good. What'd you guys think about the Abomination?
They added the gills in post, I think, because that wasn't in the trailer.
No, that didn't look like it in the trailer. He seemed very childlike.
They made him bigger. The gills were on him in
they?
the trailer. They were
Okay.
just not that big.
Then he seemed kind of like brutish. He didn't know what he
well,
was doing.
They were working.
Well, that was it. I couldn't quite figure out that relationship.
Yeah.
It was all work.
Yeah, like I don't understand why he and Wong were like
They're splitting the money.
partners.
I was surprised there was no Val appearance.
That's what I
At
thought
the end, when they came to get her at the end to bring her out for the spoiler that we'll talk about in a minute, I was like, I couldn't remember Val's name. I was like Elaine, and then it didn't happen, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, so I don't know what that was. Maybe they'll explain that more in Spider-Man, like what
we talked
Wong's
about
up
that fight scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Did anyone look in the cages or like pay attention to the cages?
Yeah.
I was
There was
trying
an
to.
extremist guy.
Yeah.
Who was fighting somebody.
I saw that. That was all I really noticed.
That's it. It's like
the extremist guy and then a
there's
bunch
some
of...
couple other stuff, but it was a lot of like I think.
You'd have to pay more.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's 8,000 TikTok videos out right
Yeah.
now showing you everything that you missed.
Yeah.
You know?
So I
Mutants.
think there's some stuff going on there in that Fight Club thing that was. Now, where was that town at? It wasn't Madripoor.
Macau.
Macau.
yeah.
Okay, I wish it was Madripoor. It's like time.
Yeah,
That would have been
Madripoor.
They did. But yeah, I think the Abomination and Wong are working together for some reason.
Yeah. Which, I think they'll explain that in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think that scene where he's leaving, you may even see Abomination again there, like, oh, they have something that they're investigating or whatever.
But I
There's probably
liked,
someone else there that they'll show.
or that he was trying to follow the 10 rings and then, or, I don't know, trying to train Abomination to be.
So, do you want to talk these two end scenes just to see how they tie in?
Sure.
We can go back to other stuff. So the cutscene was them in that bar again talking, then Wong shows up, brings them in, and you see Captain Marvel and Bruce. I don't understand why Wong wanted Katie to come along. I don't understand what she has to do with any of that.
Well,
Because she was there for all of it.
she was there for all of it, and one of the
But
things
she's not anything tied to that.
not yet, and that's one of the things that I'm a little worried about because in the scene where they're sitting eating and and Wenwu is talking to them and he asks her
What her name?
what is your Chinese name, and as soon as they went to Narnia, I was waiting for somebody to be like great granddaughter, like I was waiting for them to tie. I'm glad they didn't in this movie.
They're trying to turn her into some kind of hero.
I think they
along
are
with them.
trying to set her up for something more.
No, you don't need her. He could have went and been that on his
Maybe
own.
that's their backup plan in case things go south for, what's his name, who plays Hawkeye.
Jeremy
And then
Renner.
have her as an
Jeremy
archer. Yeah. So they, it looked like they were using the old Avengers technology that they've used in Endgame, where they're
Yeah.
talking on their screens. Captain Marvel has her long hair back,
Yeah.
which looks better. And yeah, Hulk noticed that he still had his arm and like
Well,
Yeah.
he was Bruce, not
he's
Hulk.
Bruce, but yeah, it looks like his arm still has issues.
Yeah.
That and whenever they were investigating the rings, something happened whenever they activated them, and Captain Marvel had to go away, which makes me think it is something cosmic.
Yeah.
So,
Which
unless
it
it's
could be
going-
tied to like the Celestials for the Eternals.
I think
movie.
it's definitely going to be. I think they're going to be actual rings. I was saying that to Justin, actual rings that maybe a Celestial wore as rings, not armbands.
Armbands. Yeah, that could be it.
And all the Eternals,
Or a bigger person
Yeah.
in the Eternals.
all the Eternals powers are gold. When he got the rings, his powers turned gold.
Yeah.
There's got to be something to that.
Yes.
Oh,
Because they
absolutely.
made a special thing that go
Yeah.
from blue to gold. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a part of whatever. I don't even know if they even have an Avengers team or whatever they have, but
Whenever they do the young event or a new Avengers team, he'll be a part of it.
he's in the gang.
Yeah.
He's in the group.
Yep.
And then the last scene was, is she bad now? Is she going to be
I don't know if
Lady
she's
Mandarin?
bad, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's Lady Mandarin or she's just because she wasn't really good whenever she was running
No.
the Fight Club.
She was trying to get her own kind of
Her own
shady
empire.
I wouldn't say evil empire, but shady empire.
I don't get her story though, because like she realizes that like she's destined for something better, helps her brother fight her dad, does all this stuff. Now she's just like, I'm going to show you that men and women can... So is she running a good gang? The Ten Rings are good now?
Well, they're hip because there's a lot of graffiti.
Yeah. And there's men and women doing the same thing.
They're equal opportunity terrorists.
But you know that he's going to end up fighting them again. Her, like...
Well, it said the Ten Rings was returning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the throw-offs from the trailer. Is I really was expecting her to be with her father and an antagonist for Shang-Chi throughout the beginning. I didn't expect them to be allies.
Maybe she'll rock the Lady Mandarin costume that Psylocke wore.
Maybe.
You know, she had that headdress and that whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, but is saying Mandarin bad? Is that why they kind of shit on it and got
I think
away?
it started becoming it's got racist connotations because like the origin of the character is not portrayed very well.
No, it's a ripoff of Fu Manchu, which
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
So you know it's
So it's not because they really shut that down. Like, who named something after an orange or a chicken flavor? You know, like I was like, oh, we're just done with that word. Can't say the Mandarin word anymore. You know, I'm Win Woo.
which I guess they've kind of. I mean, do we remember Mandarin being a part of the Marvel universe for like the last 15 years? Like,
No, I haven't seen. Well, I don't read Iron Man, so I don't know.
No.
but he even just in the consciousness of the comic, they've really written that character out.
Yeah.
So
well, even in his later incarnations, it was less about an Asian background, and you know, even his look, even his henchmen, things like that. He was more of just a general bad guy, general gangster type.
yeah.
Well, this guy has. I mean, if you think about it, this Win Woo, the first group he had that were Ten Rings and Iron Man, they were like Middle Eastern,
Right.
Yeah.
and then he had like the big
They almost
Slovakian
insinuated
dude or whatever. Like,
They almost insinuated that maybe those were all part of the old stuff, like the extremists, like tied into that, and what's his fate, like, you know. They
I don't know if they were the same Ten Rings or not.
Well,
Okay.
Because he might have been on pause at that time.
yeah, because
taking some time off.
No, he would have been retired with the kids.
Yeah, so it could have been all
Because
of.
in '96 he stopped.
Yeah.
Did you
gave it up.
guys see the Marvel one shot in Disney?
I mean, where they come and get him at the prison?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Oh,
It's on the Iron Man 2.
No, it's because
It's on Thor.
It's
too, I
on.
think.
It's on one of the. Thor.
It's on one of the DVDs.
You go on Disney Plus and go on Marvel, it's like one of the top things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
filter,
You can watch it like.
But
yeah.
they actually sort of explained in there that Trevor, or not Trevor, who was the guy that ended up fronting the man?
Started with a K.
Killian.
Killian.
Yeah.
Killian decided he wanted to actually, cause some trouble, and he appropriated the Mandarin, and then he steps through like how he got the role and how he got it all wrong. I mean, they actually sort of explained it in the movie too, when he was in his dressing room, and it was pretty much the same thing. In the absence of the real,
Yeah.
Ten Rings, they used this as just a general big bad, and that's how it works.
I guess I understood that, but that's in that Middle Eastern conflict. Who was running those 10 rings?
Probably Aldrich Killian or whatever his name is.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
They were
extremist
more
guy.
of the posers, but I mean, terrorist is a terrorist, right?
Yeah.
Right. It was a name
didn't-
that had some street cred, I guess.
Didn't Obadiah Stane hire that group?
He
Later.
killed him.
Yeah.
He killed them all.
He ended up killing them all, but
Yeah.
he hired them to capture Tony.
Yeah.
He hired them, but I don't think he understood who they were.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things I didn't care for was, which I felt was very Black Panther ripoff-esque, was in Black Panther everything was vibranium. You had vibranium weapons. This was dragon scales. Dragon scales were your go-to for everything. If you need a cool whip, it's got dragon scales on it. You need a cool staff, it's got dragon scales. I felt like they watched Black Panther and just like put it in their little Narnia world of like, we got dragon scales, so watch out for dragon scale weapons.
I'm going to defend this for 1 minute.
Okay.
I'm fine with it in this context because they didn't make like, oh, I need to get in this doorway, so this ball pops off of this. They're like, oh, dragon scale kills the shit, so I'll make a shield with it and I'll play the sword with it. They weren't doing anything crazy with it, and they put some arrows.
It was all very roughly made.
Yeah, they were just like.
But there'll be more of it.
I don't think there will.
But I don't think they're gonna. They're not gonna like use it as a fucking cell phone.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think that she's gonna like roll them and do smoke. You know what I mean? Like there was a
Wait
lot
till the
of.
second movie where people are trying to steal Dragon Scale
honestly
technology
think
on the black market.
I don't think you're ever gonna see that world again. They killed the evil that was blocking it. I don't think that you're ever it's gonna tie that stuff in.
Well, and they actually made it so that the way they portrayed it such that they really didn't want to go out into the world.
Yeah, yeah. So you're not going to see them. The most that I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you find out that one of those people that's like eternal stuff somehow, but
Eternals will be back there in their next movie.
or that'll be a home.
I'm like,
base.
oh, here we are again with Dragon Scales, and I'm gonna throw.
There's probably one
Or,
in Wakanda one there.
or the sister will bring her weapon.
Yeah. I just don't see the need for that place anymore. My
Same.
biggest problem with this entire movie was the plot convenience of that maze. Like, we can get there now, and it's going to hold them, or we can wait 3 days where there's just a path. Why would you make that? Why would you make, and they didn't even say how long. Like, we just know in 3 days a path shows up. Like, okay, that's a little. That was my plot convenience annoyance of that movie was like, we could wait till 3 days and then walk right into it, or we could do the maze with the chicken chicken thing.
Yeah, the chicken pig.
See, I figured they would actually pull the time dilation thing. You know, once you get into Narnia, time passes slower, so that's how they could train.
I
all
got
that stuff,
everybody
yeah.
calling it Narnia now.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Thanks,
it's
Tom.
pretty spot on.
It's pretty darn. Those lions are pretty Aslan walking around.
I thought they looked really cool though.
I
I
like
do too.
them.
I like that. I don't want to hate on it like Dawn's hating. I really enjoyed that part. I didn't have a problem with the fight scenes with the whips and the rings. I thought it was kind of cool. I also liked that they changed fight styles when each of them had it. Like there's some stuff like that. But there was some plot. There was a lot of that land was rife with plot convenience.
Yeah.
But that's
But
a Marvel movie. You're right.
Visually, though, I mean, that was probably the most breathtaking part of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are a lot of... I mean, if you play Dungeons and Dragons and things like that, you've always had and seen these mythical Chinese creatures. But this is the first time I've ever seen them, sort of live action or in a, really high-end graphic. And they did it justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would argue that it was less Falcor and more
Amadeus. Ooh, rock me Amadeus.
the dragon from Dragon Ball Z.
Ooh.
Shenron.
It's not Shenron. Shenron's a lot bigger than that.
But
It doesn't fly and doesn't do. Shenron's a lot
So much
longer, a
cooler
lot
and
bigger, and
awesome.
doesn't fly around
But
like
it's
that.
the same-
It was the way he was flying. All he needed to do was chase some kids down an alley on it, and make
have a
him
dog face.
jump in a dumpster. It'd have been the exact same thing, popping out all the way he was flying around.
I want to
Yeah,
talk
I
about
don't
one
know.
scene, and then I'll be done.
Okay,
I thought the scene
Made a
where they're
donut.
fighting on the scaffolding outside the building was one of the best fight scenes I've seen in a long
very good.
time.
Yeah. Very good.
I don't like heights, so I was like physically getting nervous watching that scene. And I was like, this is something that was done really well and conveyed a lot of emotion, and I really enjoyed it.
That's what I mean. That's what I like. I liked it. Like, I know there's like a lot of action movies that look like that,
Yeah.
but I like we were watching a Marvel movie with a new Marvel character,
Yeah.
and we're doing all this super cool martial arts, and we're over there, and I was into all that. I just didn't like that we took this 180 turn and ended up in this and doing all this Narnia stuff. I was like, what happened to this movie? Where did we go? We were on a good path, and now we're here. Like, I never thought we were going to end up here. And we got dragon scale weapons and luck dragons and soul suckers. And I'm like, I just kept shaking my head like, what are we doing? Why we were in a cool ass fight movie. Now we're in this weird fucking magical land of Super Saiyans and everything else that was going on in there. It threw me.
I don't see I don't think that it's gonna be that for a long period of time.
Well, hopefully not.
You know how we kind of also they started having Shang-Chi have those like time slowing down powers.
And multiple man powers.
Yes, I'm glad that none of that was in this.
Yeah.
Not yet. You know.
At one point, though, it did look like he was running at super speed.
It was, but I also feel like that was, you watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you watch some of those,
Oh, the fight choreography in this movie was...
That's some of the best fight choreography
Yeah,
I've seen in a
amazing.
while.
Yeah.
He has fast hands. I know they probably speed up some stuff.
Yeah.
But the technique that they were doing with the fast
Well,
hands
and
was
the
awesome.
way that they portrayed the different styles of kung fu, like that his father was a very linear fighting style, but his mother, the reason she could beat him was she was a more circular flowing style.
She was teaching him all the
it was
kata
just-
stuff
it
and
was
all that.
amazing.
I just didn't.
yeah.
Sand snow things and air bending and all that.
I think that those were directional cues, not power representation. And I'm fine.
Well, they were still. She was still bending air because he did it at the end.
Yeah, and I liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it looked cool.
You can only do it there, though. You
Yeah.
can't do it outside of that
Can't
land.
airbend anywhere else. Only in the magical world of Avatar.
I sort of like the fact that Michelle Yeoh has
Yo, Ma.
taken over the more like mentorish route, rather than being like the upfront kung fu type of person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sort of a nod to her career.
Was that his aunt?
That was
Yes.
his aunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I'll ask for everyone.
What was she in before?
She was in Crouching Tiger.
She was
She was in Crouching
Tiger,
Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
She was in Enterprise. Well, not
She
Enterprise.
was-
The latest Star Wars, the latest
Tigers
Star
and
Trek.
Dragons.
Oh, I don't know.
We got to wrap this show up. We've been
Discovery.
going 30 minutes. Now we're talking Star Trek. All right, let's rate this some bitch. Ken.
4-ish.
4.
0.25.
Whatever.
4 luchador bandanas.
Okay. Lance.
I will also say for Master Chief Elements.
Brock.
I'm going to say 4 nondescript baseball caps.
Justin.
4 cheese wheels.
All right. I'm probably a 3.5.
It's better than I thought you were going to give it.
Like I said, it gets that for me because I really like him.
Yeah.
He impressed me. I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him. I like him.
If you like this actor, I recommend watching Kim's Convenience.
I tried to watch it and I couldn't get through one episode.
Oh, really?
I wasn't getting any of the jokes. I don't know. I watched one episode and I was like, all right, I don't know. Maybe
It's not like a laugh ride. I just enjoy the show.
I have
It's
to
like-
power through some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the old and that the guy that runs Kim's Convenience was the guy in Mandalorian. He was one of the Rebel fighter pilots.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, one of the X-wing
yeah,
guys.
he's a big nerd.
You can watch it on Netflix.
That's not what to say.
All right. Ken, take us out.
All right, everyone, please like, share, subscribe, invite to our shit. We're on interwebs. Just Google us at KF Podcast.
All right. Later.